What is up, guys? Welcome back to Mateo Family Vibes. Welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered how much does it cost to have a child in a different country? Have you ever wondered how much it costs to have a child in the Philippines? Well, in this video, I'm going to share how much we actually spent to have our daughter here in the Philippines. And this beautiful child here, say hi. Baby, yeah. So this beautiful child of mine that we're so blessed that God gave us a gift of, I'm going to share with you how much it costs to have her here in the Philippines. Now, before we get into prices and how much it costs to have a child here, a couple things to know, please. Number one, this is what we paid, okay? It's not what other people are paying. It's not what you would pay at a different hospital and things of that nature. So please keep in mind that everything is subject to literally a lot of different factors, okay? Factors of like, what hospital did you go to? Did you go to St. Luke's? Did you go to VRP Medical Center? Did you go to a public hospital? Did you go to a semi-private hospital? So there are a lot of different factors that will determine what you pay for, for having a child in the Philippines. We can only share what we paid because that's just it. That's what we can have, right? Is how much we actually paid. There's other people that I've seen and heard of that have paid 3 times as much as what we did, while others paid barely anything. So please keep that in mind, that unless you know how the medical system works here, unless you are Filipino and you know how this works, like the range of services and things of that nature can vary vastly depending on the condition that you have. Obviously when mothers have difficulty in their pregnancies or complications come, obviously that comes with added costs. So keep all of that into consideration. There's not just one cookie cutter price for everyone, because it just unfortunately doesn't work that way, because we are human beings, and obviously all of us are all different. So different mothers are going to experience different scenarios based on their health and health of the child and things of that nature. So just keep all of that in mind. Now, we had our daughter back in 2022, and we actually had our daughter right over here at VRP. Amazing, great hospital for us for that experience. Now, for VRP itself, and for many hospitals actually, they actually have private, semi-private, and open rooms. So you have a myriad of options when you go there. Another thing that you do have to consider is the fact that they have packages, maternity packages that you can buy up front. So if you know that you're going to have, let's say a natural, or let's say if you know that you want to have a C-section or whatever the case may be, hospitals have those types of packages that you can pre-buy that include a myriad of pretty much what you need for hopefully a normal delivery that does not have any kind of complications or things of that nature. And so those packages honestly can range anywhere from 100,000 pesos all the way up to 300,000 pesos. It honestly just depends on the hospital, what the package includes, and whether you're in a deluxe room, private room, semi-private room, and all that stuff comes into play. Also, how long you're there at the hospital plays a huge factor. So for us specifically, we had our child at VRP Medical Center, and this was right at the end of COVID. So here in the Philippines, COVID was taken very seriously, and it was very strict during that time, even in 2022. The protocols at the hospital were still very strict. They were, it was kind of like, honestly, like COVID was still here, just to be honest, because they were still asking for vaccine certifications and all that stuff, COVID test, and to get into the hospital. I mean, it was a whole, thing back then. So, something like that you have to keep in mind. But as far as the cost, so we had a C-section pregnancy or delivery. We had a C-section delivery, and we stayed, I think it was like 2 days that we stayed in at a VRP. But let me make sure. There's a what?
There's a cat.
A cat. Oh no.
How does the cat sound?
How many days did we stay at VRP for when you had birth?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4th day, because the 4th day evening time we were discharged.
Okay, so 4 days total is what we ended up staying. So 3 nights, 4 days is what we stayed at VRP. Now we had our own private room, so nobody else was in the room with us. How much did all of that cost? Well, we ended up paying the total price for everything out the door was 169,000 pesos was our total. So that's roughly about 3,000 US dollars in today's exchange rate right now. So don't know what the exchange rate was back then, obviously, but in today's exchange rate, that's about $3,000. Okay, now that does not include any discounts that we got from PhilHealth, because we do have PhilHealth, so that helped out tremendously in the discounting of the bill. So if we did not have any insurance, nothing at all, and we just walked in, wanted to have the delivery C-section with basically 3 nights, 4 days in a private room at VRP Medical Center, the total was 169. Now, if we take into effect how much PhilHealth ended up paying, then it'll be a little bit less. Do you remember how much did PhilHealth pay from the 169 total? So 22,000. So 169 total minus 22,000 for PhilHealth.
And then the remaining is what we paid,
Right. So there you go. So PhilHealth paid 22,000 of the bill, and then obviously we paid the rest. So if you do the math, so in total out of our pocket, we paid 147,000 pesos to have our daughter at a private hospital, VRP Medical Center, with 4 days, 3 nights, C-section. That includes all of doctor's fees, the hospital fees, because a lot of things are different here in the Philippines, because you have essentially the doctor's fee, what they charge you to actually do the procedure, whatever it is that you're getting done. And then secondly, there's the hospital fee, whatever they bill you for, what, the services that they provide outside of what the doctor's procedures are. So just keep that in mind. And this is for any procedure that you go to a hospital with. You're gonna have, it's one bill, but it's basically 2 separate bills: the doctor's bill and the hospital bill, but they are combined. So when you go to the hospital and they tell you a bill of, it's going to cost you whatever 200 and something thousand pesos, that's just the hospital's cost. That does not include the doctor's fee, because the doctor's fee is completely separate from that. So keep that in mind. Ooh, look, let me see the flower. Ooh, you got a flower, you put it in? Let me see, put it on. Whoa, how pretty. If you compare that to, let's say, the States, how much it would cost to have a child in the States, I can actually tell you that too, because my oldest daughter also had a child in the States around the same time. That bill was pretty crazy. She had same thing, C-section, and I want to say it was 3 days, 3 nights, 4 days in the hospital as well. Her bill, the hospital charged was $20,000. $20,000 is what she was charged for having a baby in the States around the same time that we had our daughter. So huge difference, obviously, in pricing when you compare it to the Philippines. Thank God she had insurance, so insurance covered most of that for her. She still had to pay out of pocket, I want to say about $2,000 or whatnots. But without insurance, it was 20 grand. So take that as you will when it comes to the differences in cost when it comes to having a child in the Philippines versus the States. Now, again, I think the biggest thing that you could do is if you are planning to have a child here, is make sure that you take advantage of the maternity packages that the hospitals sell. So VRP sells a maternity package that you can buy up front. St. Luke's BGC has a maternity package that you could buy up front, and they're all different prices, and they all include different things. And obviously it depends also on whether or not it's a normal delivery, or if it's a C-section. C-sections obviously cost more. So keep that in mind. But definitely those hospital maternity packages come into play because they give you a substantial discount. For example, if you go to St. Luke's website right now, their maternity packages are offering up to about 20% discount on the hospital fees than just if you were to walk in without buying the package. And you get a lot of things as well with those packages. So keep that in mind, and I would say take advantage of that as well. But for us, it was a good experience overall. Didn't have any kind of issues. I was able to be in the room when my wife gave birth, so I didn't miss any of that stuff. And honestly, it felt kind of normal, just like you would in the States. I didn't feel anything different, to be honest with you, of being here. There is one thing I would mention though. Here in the Philippines, they're very pro breastfeeding. So that is one thing that kind of surprised me, honestly. They're very pro breastfeeding, and they would like everybody obviously to breastfeed, because obviously we know it's better than regular formula, but we know that obviously there's mothers that sometimes cannot breastfeed, and so they need formula for the baby, obviously. So that is one thing though that kind of stuck out to me throughout that process at that time, was how encouraging they were towards my wife and I to make sure that we're breastfeeding and things of that nature. And they weren't really looking at formula as being an option, unless there was some kind of issues where the mother could not breastfeed the baby. But that is definitely something that stuck out to me, where I know that in America is completely different. It's like you kind of like tell them I want to breastfeed or I don't want to breastfeed, and they give you formula. It's not a big deal. Here it is definitely a lot different when it comes to that, and so it is something that I did notice. So anyways, that is how much it costs to have a baby here in the Philippines. Hopefully it brought you some insight as to our cost when that happened. And so if I could help you in any way, that's great. But as always, please make sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.